So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on another 737 Aviation Explain Flying episode across the Europe. Some of you probably have noticed that it was supposed to be a live stream just before, but unfortunately I got, let's say, stuck in island of Mykonos in Greece, and I do not have really a reliable internet connection to do so. Of course, I can't complain too much, but it's not really able to run VATSIM, so I had to record that, and it will probably get uploaded overnight. So today we'll be continuing our journey across Europe. So we have finished in La Palma in Canaries, and the next stop we do expect is Madeira, which is Portuguese island with, as you probably know, one of the most interesting approaches we can have in Europe. I've been there myself, unfortunately, just 3 times a couple of years ago, so maybe still remember something, and maybe we will manage. That's the real world weather, which is set. It's a bit windy today, but we don't have many clouds out there. And we're gonna be flying this exact 737-300 as the classic 737 Classic was the one that I have started my career with. I mean, my 737 career with. So the exact model is really nicely done. If you take a close look, you can even see that it's shaking itself during the gusts, which is quite unusual, even on the Zibo. And the system-wise, it's really nicely done. Just the FMC is a bit, let's say, chunky and still needs some improvement, but otherwise, I'm super happy that I have bought it, and hopefully you will enjoy it as well. One of the best things about this airplane is the sound quality, so I do totally recommend to use your headsets if you have one, because all the engines, all the noises it makes are like hundreds or at least 95% accurate to real 737, and it gives you this kind of total immersion when you hear it through the headsets. So getting into the flight deck, it's all nicely done. You can select all the options, at least some of the options like preferences. You can select either the aircraft has winglets or it doesn't have winglets. I never flew a classic with winglets, so I just keep it without the winglets like it should be itself. Rain ice on windscreen, use steam gauge engine instruments. I flew one of the airplanes with this kind of gauges, and it's a bit, let's say, tricky to fly them. As you know about the Kegworth accident, the 737 that they shut down the engine which was actually working was because they used to be flying on these ones and they have been flying on these ones for the first or second time. The captain had like 4 hours on these instruments, so by mistake they shut down the wrong engine. And actually, I do have to admit that these ones, after you fly a couple of hours on these ones, are easier to read than these ones. So today we'll be starting with, I don't know, I flew with these ones. Maybe we can fly with these ones today. Actually, why not? Uh, so aircraft has eyebrow windows, those kind of windows, and some of you will probably ask why did these early 737s have this and now 800s and Maxes doesn't have them. So basically the reason was because nowadays we all have TCASs and back in the days they didn't. So it was in order to improve the sight from the pilot's seat. Basically, the space, if you have ever been in the 737 flight deck itself, those windows are really not the biggest one you can have, and the view is kind of restricted. It's enough to fly it or taxi that, but it's quite restricted. So these ones would give you some extra space. But as long as I flew the 737s with this kind of eyebrows, the most of the pilots would just put some newspapers or old documents or something just to, keep the sun from coming in. So we can just remove it since we have TICAS, or we can actually leave it. We have all the instruments, so we can have all the eyebrows as well. Why not? All the settings about the simulator itself, so I'm just gonna leave it behind. And of course, you can open, close the doors, use the external air power, ground power, air power, or open the doors, adjust the fuel, etc., which we'll do in just a second. And additionally, you can have integration with the iPad. I didn't do that for some reason, doesn't work for me. So I have this on-screen AVI tab. So you're gonna see it from time to time, probably. Okay, let's close that window. And today we're going to be using a Boeing standard procedures. So we start on the batteries and we got the ground power on and running. So once we start, we go to overhead panel, we switch on the IRS as it's the longest taking item on the 737 Special and Classics, and you never had a guarantee that it will align on the first try, so you could spend 6-7 minutes waiting for the IRSs and they will just give fail message, so you had to do it all over again. So the good practice is to switch on them as soon as you get into the airplane. Airspeed warning tests. Not tests. Sorry, I'm not native English, so will do my best. And we do the fire test, which is really have nice sounds. Yeah, if I move my screen away, just off. And the cargo test. And of course the last test we can do is a light test, which will basically illuminate all the lights on the upper overhead panel, and the main glare shield and the pedestal. There are not many lights on pedestal in 737 Classic, but still some to check. In the simulator they're always working, so I just skip that point that I will follow all the lights through. And of course we have to be careful to put it back to bright instead of dim, because if you put it to dim, at least the real one, this won't be visible during the daytime, so it must be on bright. Once we done that, we can configure the overhead panel, and we are, for now we'll switch off the fuel pumps. In Classic, it was not really fully recommended to run them for too long time on the ground for some reasons. Technically you can, but the bulletins were saying that you cannot run them over when you're stationary over an hour or something, so that's still a long time. So actually should be fine for us. We'll be departing about 10 minutes probably. Window heats, hydraulics still off, as the Boeing is saying. Pressurization panel, which is quite interesting one in here. We are going to be cruising at 360 as far as I remember, so I will pre-select that. And landing altitude is 200 feet. Additionally, we have the standby mode, which we have to set before every flight. So all this, the rate selector should be just on the index arrow. So it's like not like this, but exactly like this. It's basically controlling the cabin rate when in standby, and the cabin altitude should be selected accordingly. So 36 for 36,000 feet, we're gonna set cabin altitude of 7,600, and we go 7,600, and it's set. So in automatic mode it will work just as like on 737-800, and if you put it in standby, the controller will try to run the cabin altitude up to 7,600 with some slow rate, regardless if you're climbing or level flight. And then we have two modes for manual open and closing. AC, which is running the motor quite quickly, as you see in here. So alternating current, that's one for open and closing quickly, and DC is doing that very slowly, and that's actually for fine-tuning the cabin altitude if you need to do that by hand. Going back to auto, it should open the valve fully. There's this little ground flight switch, so after we get the engine started we go to flight, and the automatic controller will close the valve, prepare for departure. If we forget to do that, it will close itself after we become airborne, so that's not really critical part. It's just more about the comfort of the passengers. Battery switches, light switches are just a little different than 800, but that's not much difference anyway. And the MCP is basically all the same like in the older NGs, so no much difference in here. Going back to RTO, and we do have these green screens of the MCP, FMC, and they were very slow, so basically you had like click 3 seconds and then they give you legs or something, so they're working without any delay here. In real life they had like 2-3 seconds sometimes. Golf Charlie Lima Alpha, and we have the set iris position. We take it from the GPS left, or if we wouldn't have GPS on the 737 Classic, which was quite common, we can type it in manually, but since I have that I can just put it in here. Go back to route, Golf Charlie Lima Alpha to Lima Papa Mike Alpha, and now I have to find the flight plan. That should be somewhere. Yeah, I have a mess on my hard drives, so you have to apologize me a bit. So this one, and I have Golf Charlie Lima Alpha to Lima Papa Mike Alpha, which is this flight plan, and I do have a checklist as well, and that's the standard Boeing checklist. It will work both for 737 Classic and 800, and if you want to use it for 200 it's still fine. Just little items will be different, but you can still use it, and you can find the link to this checklist under the video. So going back to flight plan, we go to page 2. We are checking our call sign, which is Echo X-Ray Sierra Chanex 42 Hotel. Echo X-Ray Sierra 42 Hotel. And route. Yeah, I didn't put the lights too bright, so now it should be a bit better. I like to have all the lights bright personally, so that's my choice, but you can do it like this. I can just leave it dimmed, so all up to you. That's quite simple routing. The flight time will be approximately 50 minutes, and we go from Bimbo, which is Bimbo 6 Tango to Bimbo, then Eknot. And then we go Eknot 1 Papa to Lima Papa Mike Alpha. Okay, this runway 36, Bimbo 6 Tango. And arrival, we are going to do 05, not 23, in this case, and that's gonna be probably RNAV Alpha 05 via Pilim and transition arrival Ectot 1 Papa. We go back to route, activate, execute. The distance we have doesn't give me the distance yet. I don't know why. Yeah, of course, I need to do the performance. So, if you're watching me from Poland, you probably saw my video from yesterday. So that sector might not be really interesting to you, but of course you're all very welcome to watch it along. And the cost index of that one is 1717. Reserves, we do have reserves of 200 plus 900, so 1200 to 2.4 reserve. And zero fuel weight gonna be 46.7. 46.7. The fuel we need is 5 tons. I want to take some extras. We're gonna go 5.5 in case we're gonna do the missed approach. Preferences not. Ground services perhaps. Yes. So the zero fuel weight is 46.7, and we're gonna need 5.5 ton of fuel. 5.5 ton of fuel, and start refueling in a realistic mode. If you put 5.5 here in plan mode, it will give us 52.2 takeoff, and it's 51.2. That might differ because of the weight of the Simbrief airplane, but it should be exactly what we need. That's my bad. Zero fuel 46.7. And we have cruising altitude of 360. We double check it on the overhead panel, it's 360. And the wind's gonna be 259.51, 259.51. And ice deviation is +5, so that's the bad direction. So when it's warmer, it's of course worse for us. So +5, it's still nothing too bad, at least not for 737. Climb 2, full power takeoff from this runway, definitely. Flaps 5, because why not? 127, 129, 139. And 139 is going to be set on the MCP. Auto throttle is armed. And we are still fueling. Yes, we still have 3 tons. We need 2.5 more. That's gonna take about 3 minutes. So, in the meantime, we can go to map in here. You're getting this nice little screen what's actually on the navigation display. It's not called navigation display on 737. It has some really complicated name, but as you know, on 800 the EFIS control panel is here, so you can basically switch all the maps and everything. And in the classic, it's here. It's nice to operate that because of course your hand is somewhere here, but you have to look on it. It's not like you can just do it and look, but you have to switch your attention, at least in the simulator. Okay. Once we've done that one, we can do the pre-flight checklist, and the checklist is pre-flight checklist oxygen test at 100%. I do have 1500 psi, which is completely enough. I test the masks on both sides, test them 1%. Instrument response to this with switch as normal auto. Window heat is on, Precision mode selector is auto. I cannot see it from here. It's auto. Flight instruments are all set. They not set because I didn't set the departure. And the QNH is 1014. 1014, 1000 above the altitude. We're gonna accelerate in any case. 1014, 1014, 1014 on the right side. And talking about the departure, we go to the airports. For now I can close this one and this one. Golf Charlie Lima Alpha, La Palma next, and airport parking stands. So very short briefing. We're gonna push back facing to the south, taxi via Alpha to the runway 36, line up full distance and take off to the north. And after departure we're gonna follow the Bimbo 6 Tango departure, which is departure Bimbo 6 Tango. While it's loading, I have the runway heading off 004, which is set on the heading selector, and we go 004 to 600 feet, which is in the box here. Then turn right to 095, it's 079 to intercept the radial 056, 055, so 004 in here as initial climb, and 056 on the right side from La Palma 1124, which is DME 1124, and the NDB is 389er. Where the hell is the NDB here? Yeah, my bad. 389er is set and it's active. And if I will switch, I want to have airports and perhaps nav aids on this side, and this one going to ADF, and it's actually showing the ADF, so we know what's the position of this ADF, and we are 1.2 miles outbound of La Palma, and we continue to Brick, then Casas, then Bimbo, Brick, Casas, Bimbo flight level 100 above, which should easily make it. And then we start descent. We're not going to reach 360 definitely. Maybe 326 miles, maybe we can do it, but maybe not, we'll see. N1 limit takeoff, so we already briefed for departure. Going back to charts, and flight instruments are set, parking brake is set, engine start levers cut off. Fueling has been completed, so we switch on the seatbelt sign and we can do the before start checklist, sliding door closed and locked. Fuel, we have 5.5, we need 5 tons, and we do have 4 pumps on. Passenger signs on, windows are locked. That's quite important step, as on 737 Classics they just used to slide off once you push the toggle and start the takeoff run, so you had to really smash them to make sure they really closed. Okay, MCP is set. I have initial heading 139, heading 004. Gonna climb to 90,000 feet, flight level 90 actually, and the other course is 056 outbound to the right. CO pre-flight completed, so I have takeoff and legs, rudder and trims 3 and 0. I should check all the rudder and trims. I do not do that. After I check it in the simulator, my simulator is just going crazy, so I'm not touching them unless I really have to. And anti-collision light is going to be on. So plugins, better pushback, pre-planned pushback. And we want to get pushback somewhere here, and they would probably ask you to pull in front so you're not blocking this exit. So perhaps even somewhere here.
Ground to cockpit. Cannon knowledge. Coming through the menu when you are ready.
He even speaks Spanish accent, so that's all nice. Pre-planned pushback. Yeah.
Ground to cockpit. Cannon knowledge. Coming through the menu when you are ready. Ground to cockpit.
Pushback.
Cow is driving up.
It will take some time until he will come in, so in the meantime I can start the APU. So from this point on, definitely headsets, if you have one. You will hear the engines, so you will know what I'm talking about. So the EPU is standing up, and classic we always go right on bus, left on bus. Ground services we can discuss.
Okay,
the ground
all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
And he will try to connect himself in the meantime. So we go anti-closure light on, transponder going to be TA array, TA for now, and auto, and packs are off. After 1 minute has passed that we start set the APU, we can switch on the APU bleed, and we should have some pressure in the duct already. So as you see, once you switch on the bleed, it's going to dual bleed.
Start connected and bypass being inserted. Release parking brake.
And anti-closure light on, that's before start checklist completed. So time is 1203. Parking brake released. We can start
starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Okay, so let's go. We'll be starting engines 2 and 1 in sequence. We're starting from engine number 2. Clear left, clear on the right, and enjoy the show. And 2. Oil pressure. And 1. Start cut out and watch the AGT. It's rising, 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 and then once it starts falling down, then the engine is stabilized. Unlike the 800, it will take another 20 seconds to get stable. EGT decreasing, we can start engine number 1, clear left, starting 1. And 2. Oil pressure. And 1. And fuel. Oh, come on. Start it out. And we have stable decrease, so engine number 1 stabilized. It takes time, and those engines are really delicate. They can really easily overheat.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Okay, parking brake is set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
In the meantime, I can do the procedures. Switch the hydraulics on. Pax auto. lead set going back to flight, and it will already start pressurizing the airplane slightly. Flaps 5, 1, 2, 5, and to flight controls. Back, forward, left, right. Before we check the rudders, we need to see him with the pin on the left or right side accordingly. Okay, come on, buddy.
Stow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
4-2. Yeah, the guy is there and he's holding this little pin without which we won't be able to retract landing gear. So rudders left, center, right, center, recall. Before taxi checklist, generators are on, propit is on. Anti-ice is not required, isolation valve are auto. Engine start switch continues, recall is checked. Auto brake is RTO. Engine start levers, idle dent, flight controls check, and ground equipment is clear on the left, clear on the right. Before taxi checklist completed. Let me just switch my mouse with the joystick, so I'm just a kind of mobile gamer, so I have a laptop and a little joystick and some kind of confined space. So taxi lights on, parking brake released, and we do the config check. We don't have the config warning. And we'll taxi to the first right actually, and line up on the runway. So once we're lining up on the runway, lights on, strobe lights on, transponder TA array, and I would inform the cabin crew. Okay. Nice. We are offline, so there is absolutely no traffic today. Clear left, and probably gonna be clear right, but we will see it in the moment. Yeah, that's clear left and clear right, clear to line up and wait 36, so we are lining up and backtracking to 36. It's a bit uphill, so I should use a bit more power than I'm using. Come on, don't be so shy. Technically we should keep N1 below 40% during taxi, but if it's really uphill or something, you can obviously do that. Keeping in mind that if somebody is standing behind you, you might blow something like, you know, ground crew or buses. So you have to be, of course, careful. And as you taxi this 737, it's so well made that it's even, you know, shaking and wiggling. So it's really nicely done. Totally worth the price I paid for that. So if you like old airplanes, this one is really worth it. Yeah, lining up, 3-6. So we have to overshoot center line a little, and then we can line up. Yeah, it's my fault. but yeah, try to make it. So sorry folks, I had a company call that I have to pick up, so we are back on the runway. And we are basically ready for departure. One more thing is gonna be a weather radar, which is controlled in here. We go plus 5 degrees. I think I set it before, but maybe I reset it. And we'll have some terrain indications on the screen, so it's pretty much matching that's what's outside. And before takeoff checklist quickly. Yeah, I should do that before entering the runway. Flaps are 5, green light, and stop trim is yeah, 31334.2. Why is 42? It was 39. 42 is set, and 4.2 units, which is actually set, and before takeoff checklist is completed, so we are ready. Start the timing. %, stabilized, set takeoff thrust. Give it slight push on the yoke. It's even setting the auto throttle like a real one, 80 knots. P1, rotate. That's a bit turbulent, positive rate, gear up. 400 LNAV. At 600 we should start turning to the right. 1000 autopilot in command is gonna make my life a bit easier. Climb truss is set. Spent like 25 minutes on the phone, so yeah, that's a long day, and we still good fuel, yeah, we're still good, so happy I took some extra. So 3000 feet we're going to bug up, which is 210 knots for this 737. Speed is increasing, flaps 1. And speed is increasing above the F speed, so 190-ish, flaps up. Flaps up, no lights. We can set standard 1013, 3 times 1013. We would initially get a climb to 240 or 200 Canaries, more likely, so 200 set. And after take checklist, so start switch is back to off, gear is off, and auto brake going to off. And after takeoff checklist going to be engine bleeds are on, packs are auto, landing gear is up and off, flaps up, no lights. After takeoff checklist completed. Change the scale a little so we know where are we actually going. And during the thrust setting you could see that it's actually going 40%, then about 80%, and then the takeoff thrust. So the real one was going like this as well, like it was not fluent motion, but it was like 1, 2, and then takeoff thrust set. So it's pretty accurate, to be honest. I do like it. I can give you actually this, and I can give you as well this, and of course during landing you will see something like this in the right bottom corner. It will indicate the touchdown speed, etc, etc. So for now, just to see how it will look like. And obviously all the checklist flight plans you will find in the links below the video. And in the meantime, we're passing flight level 100, climbing 200 and 10 checks. So fuel, we do that exactly same like on 800. Fuel is balanced, we have 4.8 and 4 pumps on. Lights are going back to off. I do prefer to do it on live actually, but really the internet doesn't let me do so. Here's going to map. Lights off, APUs off, air compress. That's 4.0 climbing and it's all set. It looks a bit more complicated than the NG, and then a recall, master caution, overhead, air conditioning. So we do have some master caution. Passenger oxygen on. That shouldn't be on because the cabin is below level 100. Okay, and duct overheat. That's something I got before as well, but I will run the checklist for it, and we can release the passengers. They wouldn't have the oxygen here, definitely, so unless we hit some kind of turbulence that it will drop, but never happened to me. I heard of people that happened to, but never happened to me personally. I even got the 737 QRH already. Just to need to run it on my PC and check which page is the duct overheat, otherwise it's gonna take ages to run it. Duct overheat. 273. So, yep, let's go to page 273. It's gonna take a while probably. In the meantime, we need VNAV as well. It happens to me every second departure on this airplane that I have duct overheat, but instead of pressing buttons, I will just show you how does it work itself. They promised to fix some of these issues, so I hope they will, because it could be really awesome airplane. Or I can go level change to 50, so we're not going to top of climb so quickly. I have some extra time to do the checklist and then prepare the landing. Two, 5, 3 or 263, 263 I think so. Nah, let me double check that. 273 even. So 273 zone temperature duct overheat for 737-400. It should be zone temperature. 737-300 is duct overheat. Light illuminated indicates air temperature in the related duct has exceeded limits, or also 737-400, which is not applicable for us. Valve has been lost. First point temperature is electric cooler temperature. We are maximum cold already. 3 preset switch push. Push the button, the light is gone. Temperature selector, manual. If the duct temperature increases rapidly, but you can hear the air conditioning running. You can even switch on the gas fan. That's the end of checklist. So since we done everything and now we just have master caution, passenger oxygen, which doesn't matter because we are not depressurized. We'll climb to 360. So 360 set. Back to VNAV. And 360 set once, twice, 3 times, monitoring 1215, and we got master caution duct overheat. So let's give it a try again. All the valves are auto. Yeah, I can reset that, so it should indicate that it's actually working. And the temperature in the duct is about 18 degrees centigrade, which is not too bad, but it's actually rising, so for some reason it's rising. It shouldn't be rising in this case, but it is rising. We're gonna monitor that one. So, in the meantime, we have to start preparing the approach as well. So we go to the plan mode in here, select the smaller scale, airports. Why the hell did you open that again? RNP Zulu, and I want the arrival, which is ACNOT 1 Papa, and I want the airport chart. It's not my day for flying, definitely, so I hope we won't crash too much. In the worst case, we're gonna just divert to Porto Santo, which is quite easy airport, like 15 miles northbound. And we go to here, master caution, but we don't have this adapt overheat, we just have the passenger oxygen on. RNP Zulu. Yes, we start from the approach, so departure arrival, Bimbo 6 Tango. Was departure again, so my bad. Arrival, ECNOT 1 Papa via RNAV Alpha, and I want to have RNAV Zulu via Pilim. That's gonna be selected, and we're gonna start from ECNOT, inbound to Mike Alpha 533, then left to Pilim at 3000 feet. That's the clearance limit if we don't get any further clearance, at 3000 above actually. Then we move to RNP Zulu runway 05. Okay, it was open because I was opening the stocking. Jesus. RNP Zulu runway 05, and AR stands for authorization required. That means that the captain should be simulator trained for this specific approach. And we are going to start from Pilim at 3000 feet, then Mike Alpha 530 at 2000 feet above. So 2000 feet above, not 3000 feet above. And it's not NG, so you need to type it in like this. Then Mike Alpha 528. Once again, Pilim. Why you're not getting to Pilim? You're cutting the corner a lot from this ECNOT point. ECNOT 523, and then Pilim. If you want to force him to go to Pilim, you can go to Pilim, and create point like 110 by 2 miles on top of Pilim, and it should force him to go basically across these points. So 528, 526, and 526, 195, and minimum 2000 feet. I want to be at 2000 feet at this point. And we're happy to use VNAV, yeah, it's VNAV on. 522 at 2000 feet. We can put a smaller scale in here. And now we have Delta 222 Bravo, which is basically the radial that we can check the approach, but it's not even marked in here, so it's basically about the 25 knots in here, the gusts, wind limitations, so we can have maximum 25 knots in here. And that's the other one, Mike Alpha 520 at 1200 feet. I don't want to be above, I want to be at 1200 feet. 540 at 890, and again I don't want to be 504, sorry, don't want to be 890 above, I want to be at 890. And you have to type 4 digits, so 0890, maybe /0890, that would work, but it doesn't here, so clear, what is it, end of kickstart, yeah, just clear that. I don't want to reboot everything, we're still flying, so above 300, bank angle going back to 10 degrees, so I'm not going to put it in because it's causing some mess. Then we go to run Mike Alpha 502, 390 above. I will plan to be at 390 runway 05 at 241, so elevation is 190. We have 200 set, which is pretty enough. In case of misapproach, straight ahead Mike Alpha 550. Then start turning right. 552. 554. Then to Monac. And Monac at 3000 feet. And that's all done. We do have 4 tons of fuel now. And we're going to be landing with approximately it should show me the fuel quantity in Madeira, but it doesn't, so I have to calculate it manually. We should be landing with approximately, that's going to be on the last page, 2300 plus 500, I take it 2.8, so going to burn 1.2 ton, so 49.5. Flaps 30 in this case, because it's a bit windy, plus 5. And execute. Auto brakes going to be 3. Or even we can go auto brake max initially, then just disconnect the auto brakes. And we are going to vacate via Bravo. If we won't make it to Bravo, we have to go all the way to the bay here, backtrack Bravo and back to the aprons. Okay, seems that's all set for now. Just need to set the minimums and the bugs, the speeds. So for this approach I do have minimums of, come on, Bravo Charlie 520, so category Bravo Charlie 520 is set, and that's 354 on the radios. 354 on the radios. And for the nav setting, we will go. We can go Funchal, which is just somewhere on there, just not on this chart. So let's go VR visual. I want to have it for reference. 1122. 1122, and the runway heading is 049. 049. Basically, if I set up everything during the climb, I should transfer the controls to the FO or the pilot non-flying. We are 360. We have LNAV, VNAV, and we can double check the fuel on the top of climb. It's definitely not my day for flying, so sorry for the mess, guys. And top of climb, it took us 21 minutes and it should take us 26 minutes, so we can assume that we're kind of lighter than we expected. And we should have 3 tons of fuel on board, plus 500 I take an extra. We have 4 tons, we have spared 500 kilograms of fuel. That's kind of big difference between calculations. Usually we can spare up to 200 on the top of climb. And next point is Casas. At Casas we should have 3200, so no, that's not too bad. But still, it's lighter than we did expect it to be, perhaps. So speed-wise, I have 135. I want to set bugs. So 135, 140, plus 20, so 160, and bug up speed 210. Set minimums are set on both sides. Okay, except of course not both sides, but 520 set on both sides. And I want to have mapping here as well, because why not? Not plan, but map. Yeah, back to VOR. And we can do the descent checklist. So pressurization is, landing is set. Landing altitude is 190, 200 in the box. Recall is checked. We have overhead, passenger oxygen on, that shouldn't happen. Auto brake, maximum landing data VREF minimums, so VREF is 135 plus 5, minimums 520 set on both sides, and approach briefing completed. This descent checklist is completed, and we are pretty much done so far. 60 FPS, that's not too bad. So it's not really heavy on the GPU or something. It's nicely done. It has some minor issues, but it is nicely done. And we can, yeah, we're actually going direct anyway, any moment. What else we can do? We can put fixed rings in here, runway 05, and we'll go with 12 or even 15. We want to be configured early on this approach. And 6, let's say, for gear down. And we are at level 360 times 3. That's gonna be about 110. We have some headwinds, so about 100, yeah, 110, because we need to slow down for top of descent. Which is actually behind it, because we are going like there and then turn back, so it should work. So in this case I don't need the top of descent ring. And returning to Casas, and as you see, we have the bank angle limited to 10 and we having 30 degrees bank. That's because LNAV doesn't care about what is set here. This one applies just to heading select. If I had set heading select, it will immediately go to 10 degrees, and it applies to VOLOG. Those two modes are only referencing the bank angle selector, the other ones doesn't matter. TCAS off. I was sure that I switch on with TCAS. TA array, and yeah, it's auto, should be on. And I want to have nav-aids and the radar, yeah, should be fine. So once again guys, if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel. Some new faces probably today as well. And thanks for coming anyway, appreciate that one. I couldn't do the live stream because of my job. I'm at Mykonos in Greek island, as I said before, and I don't really have stable internet connection. It's not even enough to connect to VATSIM because it's just getting disconnected after like 2-3 minutes. So I decided to do this flight fully offline, as I promised that to probably even to be published, yeah, I think it's Sunday that was promised, so I hope it will manage to get online and I will manage to publish that one. If not, I'm really guys sorry for that. But that's IXEC 7 IXEC, IXEC, I don't know how to read it in English. 737-300. Really nicely made, as you see. It's just missing some options. If you go to the FMC index, you should have like half of the page in here, like nav, etc. And on the other hand, if you try to set offset, it doesn't work. So some of these buttons or speed restriction, I can type in 250 below. Flight level 100, and that's in. I can execute that and she will actually follow that restriction, but it doesn't show here. So it's nice, but it's a bit underworked, so I cannot put the QNH here easily. At least maybe 1014 after slash would work. Not at all. So if they work out on the FMC, really give it nice update, it would be one of the best add-ons you can have into the X-Plane. It's still quite good and definitely worth the price they're asking, but yeah, it has some minor issues, as I said. Why not? Maybe you're gonna accept this then. Yeah. And the wind actually 0 to 1 at 5. It's not really windy here. So I do assume that's gonna be all the way down. 0 to 15, 0 to 15. 0 to 15. Descent is set. I don't have the restriction even though I do have it, so yeah. So I just give it myself 30. So quite a well done thing for 70 bucks. And not Tenerife, but Madeira, I have some freeware scenery, which is not bad here. Although every time it's loading, it's saying that it's missing some objects, even if I installed everything. But at the end it should work. So the differences between 737 Classic and 800 we can talk about. If you go to the upper overhead panel, you can notice that you don't have stick shaker here. In the newer one we had stick shaker tests. Actually we didn't have these lights. They were fitted only on the 737 Classic, but in cargo versions, because the 737 Classic had the visors. So basically, except this flap here, you had the other flap here, and you can actually see the landing gear. And can we go outside? If you went to row just in front of the overwing exit, I can't remember which row was it now, but it was like 1 or 2 rows before the overwings, or after overwings. Yeah, probably after overwings. You could remove piece of the floor on the left side, and there was another visor, like with 2 mirrors, and you could see if the landing gear was locked. So we didn't have these lights, and if you didn't have one of these lights in here, you have to go all the way back and check it visually. So that was the difference. It was kind of fun, probably kind of scary for the passengers, so wouldn't do so. The overhead panel itself, it's pretty much all the same like NG, so you barely see the difference. There is the FMS switch on 800, it doesn't have the FMS switch in here, and the audio is called VHF, not audio. Fuel panel, fuel system is almost the same, just the quantities are just a little bit different. Instead of I think it's 3.6 per wing in here, I'm not really sure about that. And the center tank is smaller, so the 737 Classic could carry about 16,000 kilograms, so 16 tons, and NG is like 20,800, so about 4.5 ton more. Those panels are pretty much the same. We don't have this in 800, they just removed that because it's actually showing the oil temperature in the drive, and you just have the overheat light. You cannot actually check what is the rise or what is the temperature, and they removed as well these ones. So basically you have fewer gauges than in Classic. I mean, fewer on 800 than on Classic. The center panel is the same. This all is the same, and the pressurization panel, except this one, is pretty much the same. On the newer Classics they already had the new panels, so it was the same as 800, and this one is actually the same as on Boeing 727, which was made in early, late 50s. So this panel is very old one, old-fashioned one. Lights a bit different layout, so we have separates strobe and nav, which we don't have in the new ones. MCP obviously is the same as the older ones, and the instruments are obviously different. The green FMS, which actually you could find on the older 800s, you can see this FMS as well, so that's nothing really special. Same flaps, same speed brakes, same fire panels, same radio panels. On the old 800s you had this radio panel as well. The difference is this, so if his control panel is located here on 800, so not much difference. And the Classic is a bit easier to manual fly, to manual handle. It's flying a bit more like a Cessna 150 or maybe 180, not 150, because of the wing. The wing on the Classic is really short one, so the 800 has like 2 meters extra plus the winglet, and she's flying like a glider, and this one is flying like a brick. So during the approach, the fine approach, you put the thrust to idle and she will just touch down anyway. And 800 had the tendency to fly and fly and fly, etc. But this one, once you put throttle back, it will just touch the runway immediately, almost. How far we have to top of descent? 60 miles. So we initially descend to flight level 150, let's say. So anyway, if I'm not talking, I'm on the chat, and if you have any questions, I'm super happy to answer them. And I'm super happy we start to build a community of people who know something about the aviation or interested in aviation. Everybody is more than welcome to come. And don't hesitate to ask questions. There are no stupid questions, they saying at least so. And if I can, I will answer them on the chat. As I said, I would prefer to do that in live, but I just don't have technical possibility to do so. Yeah, I prepared the throttles. So it has this kind of ghost needles which are showing the auto throttle positions. I think you can switch it off. Yeah, why not? I don't really need that. Disable ghost throttles. Awesome. Disable camera pop out. Disable main menu pop out. No, this one I won't. Use AviTab, see? And the iPad should be appearing here, but it's just the frame that is coming, so I don't know how to switch it on yet, but I will work it out. So far I have just this one. So descent checklist is completed, we are ready for descent. I would make a PA and we would start descending anytime soon. And as you see, the Classic compared to NG is like more bare metal, so you have a lot of lines and cables just running around the cockpit. And the real one, it has some lines in here as well and wirings. So this one is not really like old one, it's the new one, I would say, like the factory one, but still you have some cables running through. And 800 is pretty much everything is covered. Top of descent. Let's go to the flight plan, and top of descent we should have 2.6 kilograms and we have 3.2, so 600 extra. In case we're going to go for a miss approach, we still gonna have like one go around and then we have to take to divert. It's always nice to have extra fuel unless you are super heavy. A lot of passengers, then you don't want to stop at the end of the runway, but if you can, you want to always take extra fuel to this kind of difficult airports. What is this FMC? Why is blinking? So another difference, as you see, the NG would go approximately 0 degrees and this one is like -2, -3. And once you idle thrust, it will just go to the lights will just illuminate, so that's normal. All the times the thrust is idle, that's normal on 737 Classic. At 300 we go to bank angle 25. Now you're just blinking track required. So it doesn't work like this. It's like if you once get track required, it will stay until you actually cancel that. So we can go profile off. Oh, come on. I just give you the drag, then you can stop that, please. Yeah, we can give it profile of 300. Of course, enable cruise altitude because we're descending, so. And VNAV on 737 Classic wouldn't be really reliable. And once you get any direct or something, it will just vanish and come back after 5 minutes after it will recalculate. So basically you want to have progress page on, let's say, FMC2 and double check the altitude versus distance in here. On NG, on 800s, it's quite accurate, so I would say you can easily use that one for descent, but on classics not much. Seatbelt sign is coming to on. Yeah, I want to lower the scale. You always want to see where you're flying, so. See, now you're going too far too slow, so. That was your own choice, mate. That was your own choice. Maybe you can switch it on in preferences, but not really. Yeah, 200 and we are clear to descend to flight level 80 initially. A bit shaky, so hopefully we won't get too much trouble on that. And we already can see Funchal, so we basically have to fly. There is this peninsula, we have to cross that, turn left. The airport is just here, so we are going to be flying parallel here. Turn left inbound and just land here. And real life wind is given in here and the wind is given in here, so they give you wind at Rosario and the wind at Threshold, so you have a lot of wind information information that you have to actually comply with. And now you want speed 250, yeah? 240. What's the reason you want 240? I don't want you to maintain 240 so high, so not yet. And unlike the classic, unlike the new generation, the classic can actually slow down and descend. So if we're descending, you pull the speed brake, it will slow down. The new generation doesn't really want to, so even if you would pull the speed brake, that doesn't really help much. So if you see, if I pull the speed brake to 5 to 10, the speed will start decreasing, not really quickly, but it will actually start decreasing. On 800 it wouldn't, it would just seem like it started shaking, but I don't care, I just go the speed I was going, so I don't know why. So I mean, I know why, because it has the glider-like wings, so it has better gliding performance, but the speed brake is really useless in 800. And here you can pull it and it's actually slowing it down. Not much, but it's still something. Okay. Okay. I don't know why on some views I don't have the screens, but I don't think I want to know. That's the information that I don't need too much. So we're almost 260, so should be fine. And yeah, when you lower the speed brake, we should do it slowly. Otherwise, the passenger will feel big bump. But I forgot that, of course. So my bad again. So we would be clear to descend to 4,000 feet. Set 4,000, 4,000 is set, QNH 1014. 1014. And the descent checklist, approach checklist, please. We don't need to QRH. Approach checklist, altimeters 1014, 1014, 1014 is set, approach checklist completed. And passing approximately level 100, want to go 250 and less. So fuel is balanced, we have 4 pumps, lights are coming to on. Anchor bank is 25, air compress, descending and set. Passenger seated, recall is checked, we have passenger oxygen on for some reason that we shouldn't have. And I give it like 10 minutes to landing or blink the fasten balls. So 10 checks are completed. At Pilim you want to have 240, but I want you to have 220 or below, so yeah, we're not climbing body, so you can't be able to cruising altitude. We are descending. Why would you adjust to 300? Of course, drag required. That's the VNAV of 737 Classic, and I would say this kind of actions, even if it's some kind of sim error, they're quite accurate, so I wouldn't complain too much about that. And how many miles we have to run on that one? 38, so we should be approximately 125 by 120, so we are just good as we want to be. You don't care too much about continuous descent approach in this kind of airports. You can give me 220 below on this one already, please. Yeah, 300 doesn't work, buddy. It's 220, not 300, so level change 220, and now I need to lose this extra energy that you just gave me. We can go to 50 for a while, just lose this altitude and then go back to 220. Why target is 300? Come on, are you serious? By 220. See? Now you can give me VNAV. Now you cannot give me VNAV. Now we are on profile. And we can start slowing down to 220. Oops. Without the speed brakes. So it's just recalculated the profile it wanted to have. And now it's thinking it's 1600 feet below what we want to. And I cannot engage VNAV for some reason, but I don't need it. We'll do it just manually. Now reduce the scale a little, and we are 30 miles outbound, so we are quite low in this one, but want to get to 2000 feet level flight and then think what's happening. So maybe vertical speed 1000, 220 on the speed. And prelim is 3000 above, so yeah, 3000, light level change. And this kind of place we would probably get cleared for approach, so okay, so we are 600 too high according to the VNAV, which we are not really 2000 too high. We are 20 miles outbound. We are just in profile. We want to go down to 2000 feet. I can do it like this. I can just slow down. And yeah, we actually can start slowing down. There's the runway, so we're basically going to fly there and start the right turn inbound. So flaps 1, speed check, flaps coming to 1. We're gonna reduce the speed to 200. Even 195, yes. So can go to flaps 5. If we need extra drag, and we might need some extra drag in here, we go with gear down. Flaps 15 limit is 195, so we can go 190, flaps 15 or flaps 10 initially, which will give us quite a decent amount of drag already. Once the landing gear is down, start switches to continuous. Speed will go to arm just in a second. And 522 should be at 2000 feet, so I'm still good. Speed brake to armed. Come on, are you armed? Yes, you are armed. The speed is going back to 160. There's the airport. And I do have another company call, but let me check my system. Maybe I do have some flights or something. But we'll see. We'll see. So we start turning. We can go to flaps 15, speed 150. And start descending 2000. Yeah, we're descending to 2000. They call me just once for now, so hopefully not. And of course my phone has been stuck. No, I don't have any flight, so
2500.
sounds good for now. I will call him back just after landing. And terrain is noted. Sorry guys. Okay. And yep, we are at 2000 feet. Can go flaps 30. Speed 140. Maybe even 2 because of the wind. And the landing checklist. Landing checklist engine start switch is continuous. Speed brake armed. Landing gear down to green. At flaps I have 30 green light. Landing checklist is completed, and now we can start descending to 1200 feet during the turn. So basically it would be easier to just take a look outside, and in the real one you can see it a bit better than here. So it's more difficult to do that in the simulator than the real one. And vertical speed for now 0. Passing the point, so we go with initially 500 feet per minute. I set the runway heading 049. And in the case of misapproach, we're going to go to 3000 feet. Just to double check that. Yes. Misapproach 3000 feet. And I want to start descending a bit more quicker. And since I'm kind of visual, I can set 3000 feet on the misapproach. And if you keep LNAV engaged, it will nicely align you, at least. Maybe not with the runway, because if you keep it too far away, it will just bring you either too far or too close. So I would say that's one of the most appropriate points to just disarm the autopilot and auto throttle. So auto throttle off. Once you get a good visual contact with the runway, autopilot is off, and enjoy the landing, so the manual flight. and we can recycle flight directors, so it doesn't really help here anymore.
1,000.
Stabilize, continue. Slightly too high. You want to take a look on that speed, so that's basically the closest approach to the terrain you will have, and you might expect that you can have terrain pull up message or something. Since you see the puppy, you follow the puppy and you follow the runway, of course.
500.
It might need to be more than 30-degree bank, so you might need to get bank angle as well, so that's not a big mistake on this airport.
Minimum.
Continue.
300.
Checked.
Minimum. 40, 30, 20, 10.
Speed brakes up, reverses unlocked. We want to do the full reverses obviously on this airport. 100, we can disconnect the auto brakes. So if you leave it in max auto, they might be a bit overheated. So 60, back to idle, and then we have landed. That wasn't my best flight in my life, but we have landed safely, so that's kind of most important here. Go back to taxi speed, then we can start the reverses. Once the lights are off, we can start adding forward thrust. So and I haven't switched on the landing lights, so that's another thing, but it's not the biggest mistake you can make. Not, of course, saying I'm perfect, but I just forgot the landing lights. So, parking brake set, flaps up, trim 4 units, flight directors off. 110, you don't set 100 because you cannot set 100, you can set 110. Transponder TA, strobe lights off, and depressurization is going to go to ground, which will cause the airplane to depressurize immediately. And start switches to off. In the meantime, we can start the APU as well. And taxi to the stands, so landing lights off, taxi lights on. I think they named the airport Cristiano Ronaldo, I'm not really sure, but I think so. I'm sure they have this awful statue, the chest portrait or whatever you call it in English, made by probably blind artist. And yeah, I think it's called Cristiano Ronaldo. So we landed and it took us about 1 hour and 3 minutes plus some extra time phone talks. So eventually, instead of 1 hour, it took me like 2 hours 20 altogether. And let's say we're gonna take this gate, probably. Taxi nice and slowly. And what I have noticed is this exec doesn't want to really taxi on one engine, unlike the real 737 doesn't really feel the difference. This one doesn't want to taxi on one engine. taxi lights off, APU on buses, and yeah, right engine can go to cutoff, and I will have myself like this. (737) That's my nose wheel. Should go just in here. Oh, there you go. Parking brake set, engines cut off, and signs off, and we wait for the N2. You can see that 800 is longer, so it can go further in without crossing the lines. And N2 coming down, so anti-flight on, off, sorry. IRS is going to off. The odometer will pop off in a second. It should at least. Once they go to off. Fuel pumps off. Window heat and prop heat is going to off. Hydraulics to off. Cabin is depressurized, flight directors off. And transponder going back to off. So once we've done this, we can go through shutdown checklist. And shutdown checklist: fuel pumps are off, prop heat is off, hydraulic panel is set, flaps are up, parking brake set, engine starter is cut off, weather radar is off. Shutdown checklist completed. Next is secure checklist, so we would wait for everybody to disembark. You can open the door already. No, you cannot open the door for some reason, but okay. Give me some ground power. And I switch on to ground power, switch off the APU. Shutdown checklist completed. So, ladies and gents, welcome to Madeira. Thanks for watching this episode, and I hope you did like that, even though it was not my best flight, which I did, but hopefully you like it. If you liked it, subscribe to the channel for the next stuff coming and some real life videos as well. So guys, thank you very much, fly safe, and I see you next time. So the sim will be on for a couple of minutes, and then I will run secure checklist and end up. Thanks, and see you next time, guys. Bye bye.